In Afghanistan, a sapper patrol is out on a repair run for a stranded convoy. The combat engineer climbs out of his vehicle and demands to know who's responsible for the mess that just wrecked his day. The squad leader steps up and takes the blame, and it quickly becomes clear these two aren't just brothers in arms, they're actual brothers. The older one doesn't yell. Instead, he breaks it down like a lesson: thermodynamics. He explains that energy can never be created or destroyed. It always has to go somewhere. When someone filled the convoy trucks with stop leak, it sealed off the vents. Heat had nowhere to go, so it kept building until the radiators gave out. Then, with a dry look, he tells his brother he should have known it was his bright idea. His brother sighs. He admits this isn't really the life he imagined for himself. When he reminds his older brother of what they always talked about, getting selected for RASP. He even holds up his forearm to show the tattoo they both got. Don't quit. But the older brother brushes it off. He's too old for that now, he says. And the program is brutally hard. Besides, they were only 18 when they made that promise. Still, the younger brother pushes. He asks him to picture what it would feel like, earning the Ranger Scroll, carrying that pride, and somehow he gets through. His brother is in, but the moment doesn't last. The Taliban hits the convoy without warning. The firefight is fast and devastating. Nearly everyone is killed. With his knee badly injured, he drags himself through the smoke toward his brother. 2 years later, he's on a bus bound for the Army Ranger selection base in Colorado. When the candidates arrive, the cadre sends them straight to the induction hall and collects everything personal. From this point on, they're told, they have no names, only numbers. One of the sergeants spots a technical sergeant from the Air Force in the group and immediately assigns him as team leader. His number is 7. In another line, a sergeant pulls up a candidate's file and sees a pattern. Denied 4 times due to a prior leg injury. Admitted only after barely clearing the age cutoff. He offers him a patrol leader role. The candidate declines. He's assigned number 81. Sergeant Major Sheridan then addresses the full group. He lays it out plainly. Army Rangers are the tip of the spear, the first soldiers on the ground. RASP is one of the most demanding selection programs on Earth, are not built to push candidates to every possible limit over 8 weeks. Only those who make it to the end will face the 24-hour death march, cross the finish line, and they earn the Ranger Scroll. And with that, the program begins. The first week cuts the group down immediately. The next 3 weeks pile on. Brutal obstacle courses, punishing drills, and zero tolerance for falling short. Anyone who can't meet the standard is out. With 4 weeks left, the field is already much thinner. During one of the long marches, 15 leans in and tells the group that once they're inside the regiment, they'll have access to classified secrets. Area 51, the real story behind the moon landing, things the public never gets to hear. The others aren't buying it. Meanwhile, 81 quietly slips ahead of the group, finishes his lap, and returns without a word. Hey, slow down, Superman. You're making the rest of us look bad. Another week passes. At the rifle range, a sergeant goes down the line asking who's actually been deployed in combat. He gets unsatisfying answers and doesn't hide his impatience. Then he reaches 81. Death Mountain Division. Spartans. Every head in the room turns. Later, over lunch, 44 fills the others in. 81 was the only survivor when the Taliban ambushed his convoy and wiped out his entire unit. According to 60, he also walked away with a Silver Star. In the background, a news broadcast mentions almost as an afterthought that NASA has detected an interstellar object from outside the solar system. It's expected to pass near Earth. Officials say there's nothing to worry about. 15 can't let it go. He asks 44 directly, the Silver Star, ain't carrying his brother 10 miles. Is any of that actually true? He turns and asks 81 himself, what really happened? A sergeant shuts it down before 81 can answer. Talking isn't permitted. Everyone gets extra hill climbs. The next 2 weeks hit harder. During one exercise, a cadre asks the candidates why they're here. Most give some version of the same answer. They want to join an elite unit. 81 says something different. He just wants to cross the finish line. That night, 7 catches 81 taking his PTSD medication. The next morning, he approaches him quietly and asks if DFQ stands for Don't Quit. 81 looks caught off guard and asks how he knows. 7 shrugs. Just a guess, he says. By week 6, it's rope climbs, breaching drills, rifle qualifications. More candidates are eliminated. One night, 81 wakes from a nightmare just as a sergeant storms in and announces the final week has begun. The next challenge puts candidates in a pool fully weighted down. They have to walk the bottom and stay under. Most surface too soon. As 81 pushes through the water, his mind goes back to his brother. The memory drives him forward until it doesn't. He loses consciousness. 7 pulls him out. Sheridan tells First Sergeant Torres he wants to talk to 81. He's becoming a liability. While waiting, 81 catches a news update. The asteroid they'd reported on a month ago is now showing signs of breaking apart. When he's called in, Sheridan suggests it might be time for him to step away from the program. 81 pushes back. He hasn't failed a single event. Torres steps in. It's not about physical performance, he says. Ina, the concern is what's happening in his head. The cadre has flagged that he isn't sleeping. His peers say he keeps to himself and won't bond with the group, and every time a leadership role is offered, he turns it down. That's not what a stable candidate looks like. Sheridan takes a softer approach. He points out that what 81 went through in Afghanistan would have broken most people. The normal response would have been time off, therapy, recovery. Instead, on the morning he was discharged, he applied for this program. And then again, and again. 81 says quietly that he just wants to cross the finish line. Sheridan acknowledges that he and Torres see real potential in him, but he makes it clear, if they pull him now, he doesn't get another chance. He places a voluntary withdrawal slip on the desk. He reminds 81 that even the most powerful machine has a breaking point, and he's reached his. 81 doesn't touch the form. Eventually, only a small group makes it to the final round, 81 among them. Torres lays out the mission. A classified aircraft has been shot down behind enemy lines. Their objective: locate the crash site, destroy the aircraft before it falls into enemy hands, and recover the pilot being held in a nearby village. 2 Blackhawks will drop them deep into the mountains, rifles loaded with blanks. 1 VHF radio for situation reports. The cadre may ambush them at any point, and 81 will serve as team leader. 15 can't help himself. Great, the finish line guy. Torres reminds them, 24 hours. Rescue the pilot, return to base, cross the finish line, fail or get captured, and the mission is over. Sheridan adds that crossing that line earns them their Ranger Scrolls. The death march begins. The Blackhawks drop them deep into the Rocky Mountains. After landing, the team consolidates and moves out. 57 reads the map and puts their target at roughly 20 clicks west. 81 sets the watch to 24 hours and asks if there are any questions. Silence. Then 7 speaks up. They're all here for one reason, and they're going to earn those scrolls together. 81 gives him a nod, and the team moves. They push up through rocky terrain as the evening gives way to night. 111 relays situation reports over the radio. 7 recommends a brief rest, flagging the possibility that the cadre might be staged near the river for an ambush. 81 agrees, 20 minutes no more. While the others rest, he keeps watch. 7 asks if he can ask something personal. 81 says no. The team spots what looks like flares in the distance and assumes the cadre has eyes on them. 81 orders everyone up and moving. By morning, they find the wreckage of the downed aircraft. 7 jokes that the cadre really committed to the set design. 81 isn't laughing. He suspects an ambush upriver and has 111 send another situation report while he lays out the plan. The demo team will plant explosives on the aircraft and detonate from a safe distance. The blast should draw the cadre's attention. He sets up overwatch with 4 soldiers, 3 positioned downstream, the rest upstream. Then 57 flags something off. The briefing coordinates don't line up. They're off by a few hundred meters, and his compass has started behaving strangely. 111 reports the same. No signal on the radio, just an odd, repeating sound. They proceed anyway. As the team moves into position, 81 catches a glint of light deeper in the trees. He signals 7 and breaks away to investigate while the demo team finishes setting up. He finds what looks like the real target, but he's too late. The explosives go off. Didn't even leave a dent. Something rises from the smoke. A machine, massive, angular, bristling with red light. It sweeps the group with a scanning beam, face by face. Then it opens fire. 81 orders everyone to run. They tear through the forest until they hit a dead end. The machine launches a projectile that detonates nearby and sends the surviving soldiers tumbling down a steep hillside. For a moment, 81's mind snaps back to Afghanistan. He forces it away. He rushes to 57, who's been impaled on a tree branch. 109 is barely holding it together. 81 tells him to breathe and stay focused. 7's leg has taken serious damage in the fall. The others stand in stunned silence. Half the team is already gone. 81 asks about the demo team. They didn't make it. He moves through the wreckage and finds 111 dead, the radio destroyed. As he searches, he watches the machine take another soldier. Then 57 dies. 81 comes back with one message: Move. The machine can track them. He tells them 111 is gone and the radio is finished. They rig a rope off the cliff and begin lowering themselves one by one. 6 volunteers to lower 7. 81 climbs down first, but the machine finds them before 7 is down. It kills 6. 7 drops hard. The machine scans from the edge of the cliff, locks onto 7's leg and opens fire again. The team scatters. More are killed in the blasts that follow. Where they walk for hours before stopping to rest. 81 notices blood seeping from 7's leg. 7 tries to reassure him. There's no morphine. The container was crushed in the fall. 81 counts to 3 and resets the bone by hand. The pain is enough to knock 7 out cold. 15 floats a theory. The weapons on that machine look too advanced to be anything but a DARPA experiment gone wrong. Maybe they were used as test subjects. 44 shuts it down. The DoD doesn't run black site weapons tests on its own candidates. 15 fires back, then why were they sent directly to the machine's position? 81 lays out what he actually saw. Earlier he spotted the real crash site, an old jet exactly like 57 had suspected. The briefing coordinates were deliberately off by several hundred meters. And the compasses? The machine generates a powerful magnetic field. It throws off navigation the moment it's close. With no comms, no functional weapons, and no flares, their only option is to reach the cadre station at the village. 8 clicks west, 15 protests. There's no RASP, no finish line anymore. 81 tells him the finish line is beside the point now. The cadre at that village are the closest help they have. About an hour later, they hit the river. The current is fast and deep. 81 tells the team they'll have to rig a zip line. He'll cross first to anchor the far side. He tells 109 to watch the compass for any drift and asks 44 to give him slack as he goes. The current is going to hit hard. He fights his way across, disappears under the surface once, comes up on the far bank, secures the rope. The team rigs the line. 7 and 15 go first. Halfway across, 7's equipment snags and he's stuck. 15 tries to work the line loose and accidentally unclips 7's safety strap. 81 is already moving back across. 44 follows. At that exact moment, the machine arrives. It fires. Soldiers lose their grip and fall into the current. The machine wades in and keeps shooting. 81's rope catches on a submerged rock. He cuts himself free. The machine fires again and the blast throws him meters downstream. He finds 7 in the current and grabs hold. They go over the waterfall. They're pulled from the water on the far bank by the remaining survivors. Then 44 sees a face she wasn't expecting. 60, they'd written him off. He explains that when the machine first hit, the initial blast threw him into the rapids. He was carried far downstream. He made his way toward the village and spotted the group at the river crossing. And before all of this, he'd gotten a look at the operation plan in Torres's office. What was on the schedule for the death march? Fireworks and booby traps, standard training setups, nothing else. A sharp electronic shriek cuts across the mountains. Birds scatter. 81 orders everyone to move. They push hard through the terrain. 81 spots what looks like a flare setup, probably left by the cadre. But when they reach the village, it's burned to the ground. Ammunition and wreckage scattered everywhere. 44 sees that the radio tower is destroyed. That's why they lost long-range comms before the machine ever reached them. 60 says the cadre abandoned them. 44 says no, they didn't leave. She reads the evidence. They're at roughly 6,500 feet, about 8 clicks west of the crash site. The machine hit this station first, knocked out communications, he eliminated the cadre, and then moved toward the riverbank. It came down from higher up. 60 connects the last piece. The asteroid, the one from the news broadcast. This machine came from it. Then they hear breathing nearby. They find one of the cadre officers still alive, barely. He's trying to speak. He dies before he can get a word out. 81 orders them to find the truck and get moving. 15 snaps back. He says they're human beings who need a moment to grieve. Not everyone can just switch off the way 81 seems to. He throws the silver star in his face. Says not everyone has the luxury of being the hero who carried his brother back to base. 81 stops him. His voice goes quiet. He tells 15 he never made it back to base. He passed out 100 yards from the perimeter. The next thing he remembers is waking up in a hospital. His brother didn't survive. He couldn't carry him across in time, and they gave him a medal for the worst day of his life. He tells them he knows it hurts, but right now it's not about any of them. They need to get 7 back to base and warn someone about the machine. The truck won't start. The fuel line has dried out from the slant it's sitting at. Before 81 can work through it, 15 steps in. He says they just need to reprime the lines. 81 looks at him. 15 explains, he used to be a wheel mechanic. The engine catches. Nice work, Superman. You're making the rest of us look bad. For a moment, something like relief moves through the group. Then the machine appears. It launches bombs at them from the tree line. 60 checks the weapon mount. No ammo. 15 says he'll get it and runs before anyone can argue. He grabs the ammunition. It gets hit on the way back. 44 puts the truck in gear. They load the weapon and open fire. Nothing. The rounds connect, and the machine doesn't even register them. It shifts strategy, stops advancing, and starts dropping bombs in patterns around the vehicle. 44 threads through the forest trying to break line of sight. For a moment, the red glow disappears from the mirrors. The machine was waiting at the top of the ridge. It launches itself down the slope. 109 tries to hit the gap between its armor plates, the one place that might matter, and loses his arm trying. The machine is too much. 81 loses 7 in the chaos. Desperate, he grabs a weapon and fires at the rocks above, triggering a small slide that buries the machine momentarily. He calls for 44 to stop the truck. She doesn't answer. She's already dead. The truck goes off the road and explodes. Don't quit! 81 comes to. He moves through the wreckage slowly, passing each fallen teammate. When he reaches the rocks, he sees the machine has split in half. One piece lies inert in the debris. The other has moved to a clearing and is transmitting. A signal fired straight up into the sky, into space. A few feet away, 7 is still breathing. 81 drags him towards shelter as the rain starts coming down. The climb is brutal. He screams. Not at the machine, not at anyone. Just at the weight of all of it. Then his watch beeps. 24 hours, time's up. He sits in the rain beside 7 and breaks down completely. 7 speaks, barely above a whisper. He tells 81 that he recognized him the moment he saw him on the bus. Years ago, during air assault training, he served alongside a loudmouth private who talked constantly about one thing, becoming an Army Ranger with his brother. He described the dream in detail, talked about the matching tattoos, about what it was going to feel like when they both crossed that line. It was 81's brother. 81 asks why he never said anything. 7 tells him he tried. 81 never wanted to hear it. 81 says if he could just cross the finish line, even now, even like this, maybe he'd finally be able to sleep. 7 asks him directly, does he really believe he failed his brother? 81 says it wasn't just his brother. He failed everyone around him. 7 reminds him of the one thing that's still true. He never quit. Not once. The machine's remaining half starts moving again. 81 stares at it, wonders out loud how anyone stops something like that. When 7 asks him what his brother would do, probably fill it with stop leak and hope for the best. He says it like a joke, but something catches. He tells 7 to stay put and wait. Then he climbs down into the quarry below the ridge. Inside the building, he collects explosives, finds the controls for the stone crusher, powers it up. Outside, the machine has reached 7. Just before it fires, 81 makes enough noise to pull its attention. It turns and moves toward the building. As it scans the structure, the explosives detonate. 81 gets into the bulldozer, guns the engine, and drives straight into the machine, pinning it hard against the rock face. The crusher roars. Rocks pour down and pack into the machine's venting ports, sealing them off completely. The machine tries to fire, tries to move. There's nowhere for the heat to go. When the pressure climbs past every limit it was built to handle, 81 jumps clear. The machine explodes from the inside out. The bombs from its chassis scatter across the quarry floor. Still dangerous, but the machine itself is finished. The next morning, 81 carries 7 on his back all the way to base. He crosses the finish line. Sheridan and Torres are there, watching in silence. 81 sees what's left of the machine being loaded onto a helicopter. Sheridan steps forward and asks if he's the only one left. 81 nods. Sheridan apologizes for not getting to them sooner. He tells him the machines have hit nearly every base. This is one of the only ones still standing. 81 asks how many there are. Sheridan answers without blinking. They're everywhere. He explains that the first wave has been partially contained. None but intelligence is pointing to something far larger. a coordinated global invasion in the works. A news report confirms it. The asteroid split apart. The fragments became pods. Each pod became a machine. They're spread across the planet, hitting civilians and military targets alike. More pods are still inbound. Governments are now mounting a joint worldwide response. Sheridan asks how 81 destroyed the machine with no real weapons. 81 points back to something Sheridan said to him. Every machine has a limit. You seal off its primary venting port, and the entire system overheats and fails. Sheridan tells him that piece of intelligence could save an enormous number of lives. Then 81 says quietly that Sheridan was right. He wasn't ready. Not when he walked in. Sheridan promotes him on the spot. Now he is. He adds that his brother would be proud. Sheridan gathers the Rangers. Operation Global Shield is live. They're the spearhead. They'll be dropped on the outskirts of major cities to evacuate civilians and clear the way for heavier firepower. He looks at 81. 81 steps forward. He doesn't give a speech about glory or sacrifice. He tells them one thing. No matter how bad it gets, no matter how tired or broken they feel, they don't give up. The Rangers board the Blackhawks. As the helicopters lift off, the team leader starts calling out names. He works through the roster one by one. He gets to 81. He pauses. He realizes he never learned his name.